What's up, poker people? My name's Wes, and this is my poker vlog. Today we got a special event because Johnnie Vibes is in the house. We're here at Texas Card House in Houston, Texas, and we're going to be playing a 5-5 no limit cash game session. In this game, there's no cap on the buy-in and no cap on the straddles, so the game can get pretty fun. Wish me luck.
This is for entertainment only. I am not a professional poker player. I'm not trying to be a poker coach. I'm trying to share the fun of the games to play in. Enjoy the action. Johnnie Vibes had a meetup game at Texas Card House in Houston, Texas. He played cash with all his friends at all the different tables. This is also where I run my game on Saturdays, but we had a special game on Friday night to coincide with Johnnie being there. We had 2 tables of 5-5. The house had 3 tables of 1-3, and everyone had a really good time. As I mentioned, the game I host at Texas Card House is a no cap game, which means you can buy in for whatever you want. I bought into the game for $4,000. Other players bought into the game anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000. And you can straddle whatever you want, 10, 25, 50, 100, your whole stack, it doesn't matter. This is the beginning of the session. I open to 20 with no straddle with ace-5 of diamonds, and everybody goes to the flop. And I've said before, if you get this many people going to a flop, that means you're in a good game, but it also means you probably should be raising bigger pre-flop, which is what I tend to do later in the night. I tend to start small and then I start going bigger and bigger, just to make sure I'm not discouraging some of the other players to play early on. So I flop an ace, I decide to check call on this spot, and I turn the best card in the entire deck. The 3 of diamonds on the turn gives me a flush draw and a double gutter. This is a strong enough hand that I would normally want to check raise this hand, or if I was in position, just raise. But at the beginning of a game, I don't expect to have any fold equity at all. So I decided just to check call, and I river the king of diamonds for the nut flush. And now the awkward part where I didn't check raise, I don't have the lead, and I feel like I have to donk the river after check calling the entire hand. The guy goes in the tank for a while, and he just ends up giving it up, and we win a pot. I don't know if he would have bet if I checked to him, but I hate checking and seeing them check behind. I'd rather bet and see them fold than never getting any value. Onto this hand, I have Jack 10 of spades. There's a button straddle, a few limpers, and the under the gun +1 player is going to make it $80, which actually isn't big enough. He should be making this a minimum of 100, 120, and I'd probably go even bigger to 150 if there's this many people in the pot. You have to adjust your raise sizes to the type of game you're in and how those players play. You guys have seen this game. No one's folding for $80, and now we're going 6 ways to the flop. I have Jack 10 of spades in the cutoff, and I'm gonna flop a flush draw. The players who limped in are clearly going to check to the raiser. The raiser's going to think for a while, act like he's not sure what to do. We know this trick, and he bets 225. I call 225. The players behind me fold, but it's on to the under the gun player who seems like he's thinking about calling. He does make the call, and we go 3 ways to the turn, $1,200 pot. I hit a 10, which isn't the card I'm looking for, but in reality it does increase my equity. Rivering a 10 or jack against something like ace king is often going to be the best hand, but we really just want to hit this flush. The raiser bets $500, and I'm definitely calling $500. I want to hit a spade on the river and win a big pot. I don't even care if under the gun calls, he ends up folding. Now we're heads up and looking for a spade. That's a spade. Oh, hello. This is the best case scenario. We've got a player that raised pre-flop, bet, and we're in position on the river with a flush. He checks to me and I bet $1,100. He doesn't really take that much time, asks how much it is and calls. I show my hand and he shows a set of aces. Wow, what a suck out. Such a sick beat for Wes's friend. Here's my stack after that hand. Check out my website, razorclothing.com, for poker t-shirts, hats, and hoodies. Okay, here's a lesson in how to actually play pocket aces. In this hand, there's a $10 button straddle. I'm the small blind and I make it $30 to go. Being first to act, I didn't really have a reason to make it more than 3x. We didn't have any limpers, there was only 1 straddle. Plus, we don't want to make a huge pot since we're going to be out of position and we're going to c-bet almost every flop. I'm okay with this sizing. 4 of us go to the flop. Maybe we can flop an ace. The flop is 4-4-3 rainbow. I'm definitely c-betting this flop. Nothing here scares me. I bet $125. I get quickly called by the under the gun player and the hijack raises to 300. And this is where playing an overpair gets a little bit weird because you can't just fold even though the guy's basically saying I have a 4. We're gonna call and see what the turn is. We get heads up. The turn is a 3 of hearts. This is kind of a bad card because even if this guy was just getting silly with the 3, he now has the best hand and he bets $600. He only has 1,000, so I'm either going for his stack or I gotta let this one go. Does he have a 4? What do you guys think? Does he have a 3? I let it go. Later he said he didn't have a 3 or a 4, but that he had a really good hand, and I have no idea what that means. I've been working on making sure I don't just call down every time I have a pair. Maybe that guy got lucky and played right into it, I'm not sure. But in this hand, I have King, Queen of Hearts. I'm the $20 under the gun straddle. We have one caller from middle position. The small blind calls 20 and the big blind folds. I decide to go ahead and bump it up. I'm gonna make it 120 to go. I probably have the best hand, plus I want to play a bigger pot if I hit something. And I don't always have to c-bet when I miss. So the middle position player calls, and now the small blind limp back raises to $325. You could have just raised before, buddy. Well, I call. I still want to see a flop with king queen suited. I don't even care if this guy has what it looks like he has, which is aces. We can suck out on this guy and win a big pot. I kind of put it in my head at this point that he has aces just so I can be a little bit careful, but I'm not just gonna be laying down in case an ace comes on the flop. But hey, we have 2 hearts. I would love to hit a flush in this spot, and the guy checks to me. So I'm just gonna check behind and try to hit a heart. That's a 5 of diamonds. The guy now bets $225 into a $700 pot. If he has a set of aces, this is horrible. If he has anything else, that is horrible. That's not a heart. Why can I never make a flush? And now he's tanking. Just bet. Thank you. But in all seriousness, if you have a set of aces, don't bet 225 into 780. Mystery hand. I've got the mystery hand of the day on the button, and I straddled 50. The small blind has already folded, and the big blind decides to limp in. We go heads up to the flop. Let's see if you can tell by the action what hand I have. The flop is queen, jack for rainbow. The big blind checks and I check. The turn is a 6 of spades, which puts a flush draw and now a second straight draw on board. Now the big blind decides to bet $100. I go into the tank for a bit, and I raise it to 300. So what kind of hand do you think I would do this with? That's what you should be thinking about. The big blind should be thinking the same thing. He decides to call. $700 pot going to the river, and it's the ace of clubs. That's a scary card for anyone who had just a 1 pair hand. The big blind checks, and now it's over to me with my mystery hand. What do you think I'm gonna do? Well, I'm definitely gonna think for about 10 seconds, and then I'm gonna bet $300. It's actually the same bet that I made on the turn. You definitely don't see me do this very often. What kind of hand could that possibly be? The big blind tanks for a while. He seems uncertain and he folds, and I show 3-5 for 5 high. I lost a few hands that didn't make it into the vlog, and now I have 6,000 in my stack. And I get ace jack suited on the button with my $25 button straddle. At this time we had converted the game to a 5-5-10 game, but the 10 is a third blind, so I can still straddle my button as long as it's $20 or more. The guy in the $10 blind makes it 60 to go, and I'm just gonna call with ace jack suited. We go heads up to the flop. I flop an ace and 2 of my suit. Ace 5-4, 2 spades, and I have ace jack of spades. The pre-flop raiser checks, and I'm gonna bet this flop about 1000% of the time. This is a good flop to bet small whether you have it or not, because most of the time they either have an ace or they fold. I bet $75 and he decides to call. Nine of spades! We have a flush! Finally! Our first flush since we had jack 10 of spades and sucked out on a set of aces. And I'm gonna bet $150 in this spot. He didn't see bet the flop. I don't know that he has much, and I want him to call. The river's a 6 of diamonds. I'm just glad at this point it didn't pair the board. We still have the absolute nuts, and now it's time for that chunky value bet. I could continue to go small, but I usually like to make it questionable what the heck I'm doing, and I put my chips together in a formation that equals $550. And he folds. Everyone leave a comment below on what amount you would bet on this river. I'm really curious what you guys think. I've gone on a heater and now my stack is up to $8,500. What do you guys feel about these one-gapper hands? I got a suited one-gapper in late position. 7-5 of diamonds. There's a button straddle. A few players fold. The under the gun player calls. And the hijack raises to 100. I'm on his immediate left, so I'm gonna have position the entire hand. I say let's see a flop. I call $100. The under the gun player also calls. We're going 3 ways to a flop with 7-5 of diamonds. In reality, this is a hand that you probably want a 3-bet or fold, but I decided I was just gonna call, use my position, and see what happens. The flop is Jack 6-4 with a Jack 6 of diamonds. We have a straight draw and a flush draw. The under the gun player checks to the raiser, and he bets $150. I should definitely be raising in this spot, but yet again, I decided just to call. I don't know why. I don't remember if there was a reason when I played this hand live that I didn't raise, but I decided to just call. And the most frustrating thing that can possibly happen when you have a huge draw happens. It simply pairs the board. Do you realize there's only 3 other 4s? And I had like 15 outs and you couldn't put one of those out there? But they checked to me and I'm gonna go for it. I bet $400. The under the gun player folds and the raiser folds and we take it down with 7 high. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage of me playing poker against Johnnie Vibes. He did make it around to all the other cash game tables except for mine. But it was nice to see Johnnie Vibes at my local card room. Hope to see you again soon. And here's a very blurry picture of my stack at the end of the night. I've really got to work on taking better pictures of this stuff. But anyway, there's about $8,300 in this photo. I bought in for $4K, so it's a little over a $4,000 win. Be sure to check out my vlog next week when I play with this guy wearing bone conducting headphones. Please like and subscribe and visit razorclothing.com.